So how long does it take to walk 30 kilometers? A distance something like from the CBD to Parramatta. It took me 2 full days. It was on 30th of October 1995. I was 10 years old, and my family was part of a mass internal displacement during the Sri Lankan Civil War, what was often called the Jaffna Exodus, which had about 300,000 people moving out of the Jaffna Peninsula within the span of 2 days, and all of them by foot. We started from our village in Jaffna, Kondaville, and we walked the 30 kilometers over the next 2 days, and we ended up in a village called Eludimatual, where we had some distant relatives who offered us a place to stay. The next 4 months that followed, I still remember as the best part in my childhood and the best memories of my childhood, and that's among a civil war going on above us. It's because it was a time of no schools, it was a time to play all the time, and it was a time we had a lot of friends. It was all the families that have moved into the neighborhood, all of them displaced, but all these kids, no school, all just playing around. It was a time for me to explore into new hobbies, try new things, do all sorts of things. And as a child, that was the best childhood I could have asked for. And I even remember trying to run a ham radio station with cassette record players and cassette tape players and homemade transmitters and powering them with pedaling bicycles. And that's one of the best childhoods that could have come out of in such a situation. But the reality is, it's not the reality for everyone. And in such situations, not everyone gets that sort of an opportunity to have a good time. When I think about asylum seekers who are in Australia, who are in a lot of ways in a similar situation, and for a lot of them, the opportunities that are presented to them are not as good as I had. So it is my personal journey and my personal connection to the refugee journey that brought me closer to the issues of asylum seekers and refugees in Australia. So I came to Australia as a student in 2010, and I was studying in Brisbane, and I was doing a PhD in IT security of all things. But I think that's the time when I first came across Australian Red Cross and the migration support programs within them, and also the work that they were doing with asylum seekers. It sort of struck a chord with me because I have seen Red Cross in the past, in the conflict zone where I was living, and that sort of connected me to the thinking like, okay, I was in a situation where I had a lot of friends, family, and a society or a social connections, and a whole lot of opportunities that were presented to me. And I thought, it is what is lacking for a lot of asylum seekers in Australia, and if I could do something in that situation. So when I saw an opportunity to volunteer with Red Cross, I just offered myself. I just rocked up to the Milton office and said, I'm here, I want to volunteer, can you take me in? And I think within a week, I was in the floors volunteering, and I was helping people in the little ways I could. One of the first programs I started to volunteer at Red Cross was a weekly social group. It was run in conjunction with QPAST. QPAST is a counseling service for survivors of torture and trauma. And with starting a new life in a new country like Australia, and with all the pre-existing trauma and all the issues of social isolation and all the issues of financial difficulties and all the other pressures, it's very often that we come across people who develop a lot of mental health issues. But one of the main problems is mental health is a big, big taboo in a lot of cultures, and accessing or the willingness to access mainstream services is very, very challenging. So what is needed is an environment that is more culturally inclusive, and also an environment that could normalize the need to access mental health services, but in a different context. So this weekly group that I was part of, it was just a weekly social group. It was a place where everyone could come together in a non-clinical setting with no clinical terms used, and it was just having fun, like my childhood. It was like going to the planetarium and with kids and families, going on hikes to the Mount Kuta, or going to the bay and doing kayaking, or even doing cooking classes and making different foods from different parts of the world and enjoying the food. So it was it was a group of people who have come a long way with a lot of traumatic journeys, but they were so incredible people, and the experience that I had with them was so incredible. I kept on going back to that group, and I kept on going back to that group and volunteering whenever that group was going on. I would always put up my hand like, I'm there to volunteer. I would drive the vans, I would do everything that is there, and I would volunteer. So this volunteering experience and this group and my experience with that group is, in a way, sort of pushed me to switch my career paths. I would have been easily hacking in behind a dark screen in a dungeon and hacking away security things, which I used to do. And I came to work with people, not machines, and in these brightly lit Red Cross offices, and where talking to people was the main part of my job, which I rarely did in the past. But the people that I work with, the asylum seekers and refugees I work with, the communities that I engage with, they sort of inspire me and they motivate me to do this every day, and I have never looked back since I started with Red Cross. In a lot of ways, one of the reasons is I see a part of me with the people that I work with. It could be a 10-year-old child that I work with, or it could be a 20-year-old young person, or it could be a couple in their 30s or even 40s. But in a lot of ways, we all have taken a similar journey. Whereas I had the choice to make certain paths, and I have ended up here, and not a lot of people have the same opportunity to make the same choices, and it has taken them in a different path. But overall, it is the journey and it is the experiences that is motivating us, and it is the things like social inclusion. It is the things where a person can feel like they have an identity, they have a self-worth. That's what needed to help these people, rather than financial aid or anything more than that. The feeling that I'm part of a community is what is needed. That's why a lot of the programs that I work with are focused around building social cohesion, social inclusion, and also providing opportunities for people to participate in normal activities, not identifying them as a special people. They are normal people doing normal things, and they are part of the community. So one of the programs that we did recently was a sports day. It was organized with AFL, NRL, and Cricket New South Wales around the Harmony Day week. And it was an opportunity for our clients, our staff members, and also the wider community members to come together and learn, play, and socialize with each and everyone. And we had members from local communities, members from local sporting groups, and everyone was there playing the sport, and everyone was at the same level. There was no differences, you are this, you are that, I'm a staff member, you are a client. It was a normal setting, and it was a normalizing environment. For me personally, it was an opportunity to see these people, or the participants, as young people, rather than he's an asylum seeker or he's my client. And at the same time, it was a valuable opportunity for me, where they also accepted me as one of them, even with my pretty bad cricket skills, to say, as a Sri Lankan. And one thing that I learned from this experience is the little time that we could put in a young person's life can make a big difference. And one of the examples from that particular program is that one of the participants who came for that program, he got introduced to the local cricket club, and he is now going to play with the cricket club locally. And that's a pretty good story, and that sort of stories is what sort of motivates me on a daily basis. For me personally, my journey to Australia is not a refugee journey, yet my journey is a refugee journey. It is the same journey that I have taken, but as the people that I'm helping on a daily basis, but it is the paths that are different, where I came in a different path from the other people. But it is the little success stories. It is the little things that I can do in a person's life that can change a small thing in a day-to-day basis. Or it is a small change that could come about through a program that we do through our work. These are the things that sort of motivate me, that sort of keeps me driving to do more in this work on a daily basis. And the bottom line is, it is the smallest things. It is the little things that we sort of don't really value or we don't think much about. Those are the things that can have the biggest impact in a person's life. And that can be anything. Being a volunteer, or being an advocate for asylum seekers and refugees, or just being a friend to them in a sports day, or just being a fellow human being in the community. It is the little things. And those are the things that I can do in my personal life, and it is something that you all can do in your personal life, and that's something we all can do as a community in our lives. And I think that's the power of humanity. Thank you.